ZNS Total Sports is brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to sports, everybody. The coronavirus dealing a big blow to the sport of track and field. The World Indoor Championships were scheduled from March 13th through the 15th in Nanjing, China, but have been put off due to the deadly epidemic. Charles Fisher tells us exactly how this will affect the 242.
The decision not coming as a shock to many, but a cautious one by the World Athletics Body. Speaking with B3's President Jamaica Watcher, plans were in place to have representation in Nanjing. But executives met earlier this week to discuss sending the team with the virus out there.
We had approximately 9 persons having already qualified in individual events. And then, of course, we were going to assemble some relay teams, because we thought that that would have been one of several opportunities to be able to qualify teams to get to the Tokyo Olympics. And so we were looking forward to this event. We spoke about it to the extent that it may have behooved us as a country and in national interest to withdraw Team Bahamas from competition in Nanjing, China. So they pulled the trigger before we did, because it was a real concern for us.
B3 is, like many federations around the world, standing behind its parent body.
It's a good decision to have been made. I think that it was proactive of the World Athletics community to take a position very quickly. The extent of the virus is still yet unknown to us. And the reality is that if you moved it from Nanjing, China to Miami, Florida, there's no telling how pervasive the transmission of that disease would be within that new hemisphere. And so until we get a handle of what this virus does and how we can manage it, I think that this was perhaps the best decision for World Athletics. I think that there were initial discussions about whether the site or the locus of the event should move from Nanjing to perhaps another jurisdiction. But it's nonsensical. It's not a stagnant disease. It is highly contagious, and it's cross-border. And so moving it from one side to the other doesn't necessarily address the issue.
Archer spoke with some of our elite athletes based overseas and offered precautionary measures.
Some of our marquee athletes, because the window is such a short window, many of them have elected to not have a very active indoor season. Those who have, we're not aware that they have gone outside of the limits of the United States, although there are sightings of the virus being present in the United States now. So as it stands now, I think that the Bahamas athletes are safe. But of course, track and field is an interactive sport that spans the entire globe. So our cautionary would be that Bahamian athletes not compete in those jurisdictions until there's proper management of the virus.
A new date now on 2020 is being looked at for the staging of the World Indoors. For ZNS Total Sports, I'm Charles Fisher.
For the third time this indoor track and field season, Wagner College junior Tiffany Hanna has been named the Northeast Conference Field Athlete of the Week. At the John Thomas Classic in Boston over the weekend, Hanna finished third in the weight throw with a heave of 56 feet, 9.5 inches.
Still in indoor season until around about February, early March. I'm definitely doing better in weight than I am in shot put. I still have a lot of things to work out in shot put with my rotation. But I do believe I'll be able to pick up on that by the time that NEC Championships rolls around. For the weight throw, I've been seeing a lot of increases, and I do attribute this mainly to technique. I've been working a lot more on actually using my legs to push the ball across my body, keeping my arms long in my turns. I'm also trying to focus on having tighter turns, and all of these just add that little bit of extra power that I need to really launch the ball as far as I can. So yeah, I think that this season will go really well. I'm ranked first for weight throw right now. Hopefully I could add to that at NEC Championships.
The BAISS winding down its private school's regular season basketball schedule. 2 games yesterday at Queens College. Up first in junior boys play, the Comets defending their home turf, winning big over the Temple Christian Suns, 40-21.
We always come into the game with a game plan, so we try to stick to it, and they executed that today. We have some miscues here and there, but for the most part, we're settling in. We're just starting to gel a little bit, and so we're just waiting for that right chemistry and that right moment to put it all together. We expect to go all the way. I mean, as every team does. We expect to win it, and that's what we're gonna keep striving to do.
We're a young team. Even though we lost, we see some things that we can work on. Even in the off-season, we're going to continue working. The guys, they have championship potential. And so I promise you, next season, we're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to be in the gym. They haven't seen the last of us.
QC senior boys also in full control against the St. John's College Giants. The Comets dominating the inside and the outside, while also playing strong on the defensive end. QC wins this one in blowout fashion, 73-34. The government secondary school's basketball season that's set to tip off its best of 3 playoffs tomorrow. That's the first round at the AF Adelaide Gym. Up first at 4 in junior girls play, the top-seeded T.A. Thompson Scorpions taking on the 4th-seeded C.H. Reeves Raptors. C.H. Reeves also seeded 4th in the junior boys division. They take on the pennant-winning D.W. Davis Royals. The C.I. Gibson Rattlers, the top seed on the senior girls side, they take on the 4th-seeded C.R. Walker Knights. C.I. Gibson, the top senior boys team as well. They have a matchup with the 4th-seeded Anatole Rogers Timberwolves. The other half of the playoff brackets, 2 versus 3, will tip off on Monday. The Province Basketball Association will doubleheader action last night at the AF Adelaide Gym. Up first in Division 2, the Sunwell Rockets used a big second quarter, outscoring the Sports Center Elites 35-19. That was the big difference in the ball game as they win 103-92. Larica Sambrister led 5 Rockets in double figures. He had 20 points. Cecil Storr adding 15. Anton Williams and Crossley Wilmore had 13 points apiece, while Nathaniel Jean chipped in with 10. The Breezes High Flyers and Island Dimension Development Wolverines paying tribute to Kobe Bryant at the beginning of their Division I feature game, with both teams taking a 24-second shot clock violation. After that, it was a bit of a surprise. Breezes lost for just the 3rd time in 12 games, going down 86-78. The Wolverines used a big 4th quarter where they outscored Breezes 25-14. With the win, the Wolverines getting back to 500 at 6-6. Dominique Fernando led the way in the win, 20 points and 10 rebounds. Tamiko McKenzie also with 20 points. Selwyn McKenzie adding 16, while Gavin Lightbourne followed with 10. Michael Carey Jr., currently a free agent on the pro basketball circuit. He admits that being a professional athlete has its perks financially, but you have to put money in to get it out.
Our training is very expensive, you know, and the more you make, the more you got to pay back into it. You know, LeBron James' training was like $1.5 million. Now, I ain't no millionaire, but not yet. But I mean, you know, you just pretty much locking yourself in the gym. You're preparing mentally. You're doing yoga. You got nutritionists. You take supplements. This is just a whole bunch of stuff. It's not a game.
Carey thanks all the players who came before him as they've paved the way for this generation to reap the benefits, which weren't so readily available in years gone by.
All you're seeing now is there are more cameras around. So with more cameras around, with more outlets, it's just helping the kids to get more recognition. It's making it much more easier. You don't have to go now. You got to go to high school. You can come from high school here, like Franco did, go to prep school one time, and now you're at a big time college. When we had to leave when we were 14.
From the NBA, after scoring a career-high 42 points on Monday, Buddy Hield had just 13 last night on 5 of 12 shooting from the field. Once again, he came off the bench in the Sacramento Kings' 120-100 loss to the OKC Thunder. Kings now 17-30 on the season, and they're back on the court tonight, traveling to LA to face off with the Clippers. This will be the first basketball game in Staples Center since the death of Kobe Bryant. The LA Kings and Tampa Bay Lightning of the National Hockey League played there last night, with many in the crowd wearing Kobe jerseys. The Kings players also wore Kobe jerseys as they entered the arena. Coach-elect McPhee McQuinn and the Ole Miss Running Rebels women's basketball team, they return home tonight for a matchup with the top-ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. The Rebels coming off a 80-39 loss to 9th-ranked Mississippi State on Sunday.
You know, adversity introduces you into who you are. And so it's total character build, not only for our team, but for myself. And, you know, but half glass full, you know, we had 4 red shirts that were sitting there that were able to come and see what this environment was like. I think that will be good for us moving forward in the future, for them to get this experience. And you know, I think it's important for me to continue to show resolve and grit. I'm fully aware of where we are as far as our program is concerned, and so I'm not going to let a loss, no matter the point spread, stop me from going and preparing for the next game.
Still on news from the college hardwood, Texas freshman Kai Jones, a special guest on Longhorns Weekly. He spoke about his improvements so far this season.
You know, obviously my body, you know, my body's improved a lot since being here, but it's mainly been mental for me, you know, just growing mentally as a player, as a young man. Coach said before I got on campus that the key to your freshman year is how you respond when things don't go your way, and I always heard him saying it, and I was like, why does he keep thinking things aren't going to go my way? I think everything's going to go great. But when I got here, I realized, okay, yeah, that's a true statement. Like, you have to just be able to respond when things don't go your way and respond when they do. You know, track is much bigger in the Bahamas than basketball is, and I watch a lot of Olympic games. I was a huge Usain Bolt fan, Carl Lewis, Mike Powell. So track was much bigger back home, but I loved it more. It always was in the back of my mind because I always watched it on TV. I always loved to watch it. I always loved LeBron James. But growing up in the 6th grade, I was cut. In 7th grade, I got cut, but I was doing track at the same time. But the year that really hit me was 8th grade when I got cut because that's when I worked the hardest. But, I mean, like, I love track, and I just stuck with it, but then basketball came along.
Texas head coach Shaka Smart impressed with what he's seen from Jones so far.
I don't know if I've coached a guy at 6'11" that's worked as hard as him. I don't think that I have. There's a lot of guards that just love to live in the gym. But at 6'11", Kai's ability, he gets in there early. He'll come back late at night, and he really, really loves to get in there and work on his game. The one thing about Kai that really separates him from those guys, particularly, you know, in terms of his approach towards the game, is he really thinks of himself like a guard. And if you watch him out there working out, you know, he does extra workouts every day. He's getting better and better at all those guard skills. But it's an evolution, and it takes time. And sometimes you can do it 1-on-0 or even 1-on-1 in a workout setting, and it takes time to get to the point where you're 5-on-5, being able to go do it on a regular basis. But over the course of this season, he's made major progress, and there's no reason that will not continue. Kai's a guy who the combination of his work ethic and then his understanding of, I've got to own the challenge in front of me right now. I'm playing maybe a different position than I played before. That's what he wants to do. And he's really sunk his teeth into that and owned that. Now he's moved into the starting lineup, and it's exciting, the growth that he's making.
Anthony Burroughs Jr. and Dantry Mortimer Jr. set to represent the Bahamas at the Junior Davis Cup competition in El Salvador starting on Sunday. They will be joined by Coach Jared Turnquest. Junior Davis Cup is an international team competition for boys in the 16 and under age category. Competition starts with regional qualifying events with the winners advancing to the finals. The Bahamas competing out of the North, Central America and Caribbean region alongside Aruba, Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Cayman Islands, Costa Rica, Cuba, Curacao, the Dominican Republic, Guatemala, Guyana, Honduras, Jamaica, Nicaragua, Panama, Puerto Rico, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and the hosts. The Farmers Key Class C regatta taking place next week in Exuma. Stefano Kemp looking to skipper King and Knights to victory, but he knows it won't be easy.
I expect some stiff competition, especially from the Witty K. We expect them to show up, so we definitely going to show up better than them this time. But that is all the reasons why we're going. You know what I mean? Farmers Key is a nice environment for sailing. The waters are clear, no problems in terms of low water and stuff. So it's a nice harbor for sailing.
And talking about the harbor, it is one of the best in the country.
You could sit right there on the beach and enjoy the whole view, you know what I mean, from start to finish.
Farmers Key has one of the most beautiful harbors. The setup for racing is exclusive in terms of setting buoys, and I believe is probably the only other place I know who might have a better setup might be Rock Sound. But apart from that, Farmers Key has a tremendous setup for sloop racing, especially in the C class. And I think it's going to be a great sailing. I know it's going to be competitive because, you know, you have all the big boys here now. Everybody who is somebody, especially we have, I think, 2 new boats sailing in Farmers Key for the first time. I'm very excited for Magic, who's done a tremendous amount of work to get a new boat prepared to come and to participate. And so it's going to be very exciting.
That will do it for sports. The Bahamas Tonight comes back after the break.
ZNS Total Sports is brought to you by 4th Terrace Diagnostic Center.